in a foursome with Jay Hill, Fessy Satake, and Kelly Papinga, scored 11 under par in the event. They finished in second place, but Satake admits he's not the greatest on the links.
This is cool. Now we get to get some bragging rights and who's the best golfers. And I don't know if you want to be a best golfer. That means that you're probably not doing your job enough.
You can read all the details on the winners from BYU's Media Scramble and how the KSL sports team fared on KSLSports.com. Countdown to Cougar football, 67 days to go. I'm Mitch Harper, KSL Sports.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Are you or someone you take care of as their caregiver living with Alzheimer's disease? This study just might be for you. Consider participating in a Therus clinical trial exploring a novel repair and regenerative approach to Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City is looking for people with mild to moderate dementia, 55 to 85 years old. A consistent caregiver or support person is necessary for the conduct of this study. This study is a late-stage clinical study of an investigational drug for the treatment of mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Pantheon Clinical Research has over 30 years' experience with clinical trials. They conduct their business with professionalism, efficiency, and integrity. Contact Pantheon Clinical Research in Salt Lake City today. Again, call Pantheon Clinical Research today at 385-281-0550. That's 385-281-0550. Or go to pantheonclinical.com. That's pantheonclinical.com.
7:59 traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the Nines, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's High Yield Savings Certificates. Andy?
Man, there's still plenty of slow spots out there. If you're on I-15 northbound, be prepared for extra travel time between Point of the Mountain and 106 South, and then the delays split up. You get a stretch where you hit the speed limit, and then it backs up again as you come up on 215 and 5300 South going through Murray. Bangerter looking better in West Valley, but we still have some Taylorsville and South Jordan slowdowns on Bangerter. Mountain View only seeing backups now in West Valley near 3500 South. Heather?
Well, we do have an accident at the intersection of Antelope Drive, 2000 West in Syracuse. Unfortunately, we don't have a camera in that area, so I'm unable to tell how many lanes are blocked in which directions, but we do show delay, a little bit of backup in all four directions at Antelope Drive, 2000 West. Southbound I-15 has your worst slowdowns right now from Antelope Drive in Layton all the way into Kaysville, and Legacy Parkway is starting to ease up now that the crash is cleared southbound at the I-215 merge. Eric?
Got a little bit of brake tapping going on northbound I-15 Utah County from about 1600 north in Orem, heading up towards the Pleasant Grove Boulevard exit. Otherwise, I-15 looking solid in Utah County, getting over to the freeway. Just your usual congestion eastbound on Pioneer Crossing at 2100 north if you're heading from Saratoga Springs, Lehigh over to the freeway. Electrical problems? Want to light up your world? Call the electricians with the online guarantee. Call Mr. Sparky at 8888-SPARKY. That's 8888-SPARKY. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We got a slight chance of showers coming tomorrow and Thursday, but in the meantime, nothing but sunshine and 83 today. It's 66 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City this hour.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Tim Hughes.
And I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour.
A Utah County Sheriff's deputy has pleaded guilty to crashing into and killing a BYU student 2 years ago.
KSL News Radio's Adam Small is live with details. Adam?
Amanda, Joseph Richardson has pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor negligent homicide charge in a crash that killed 22-year-old BYU student Joseph Spencer just days before Richardson was scheduled to be tried for felony manslaughter. KSL.com reports charges will be further reduced if Richardson commits no other crimes over the next 18 months. He was allegedly driving more than 20 miles over the speed limit in an unmarked vehicle on his way to an active scene when he T-boned Spencer's car on 900 East in Provo in March of 2021. Spencer's family agreed the plea deal was fair. Their civil suit has also been resolved. Reporting live, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The Republican who just got placed on Utah's special election ballot is defending herself after some delegates question her eligibility. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts begins our team coverage and reporting that Celeste Malloy is a registered Republican.
Text messages show these delegates didn't think she was eligible. Turns out Malloy didn't vote in 2020 or 2022 in Utah. The state makes you an inactive voter when that happens. But she says she didn't know, and she didn't vote because she was concerned about her absentee ballot while living in D.C. being considered voter fraud. She was working for Congressman Stewart, and she didn't want him to have to answer for her vote.
Malloy also addressed other concerns about using her sister's address on her candidate filing, saying she lives there when not in D.C.
3 Democratic candidates are trying to get on the ballot in the 2nd Congressional District race to replace Representative Chris Stewart, and they'll take part in a virtual convention tomorrow. KSL News Radio's Tom Harrelson continues our team coverage, saying none of them is seeking signatures.
Party chairperson Diane Lewis says unlike Republican candidates, the 3 Democratic hopefuls are not seeking signatures to get on the ballot.
It was short time to gather signatures. That's usually 3 months, and it was 3 weeks, so pretty tough to gather those signature, and it costs a lot of money when you're doing it. So I think they just all chose just to do the convention route.
The legislature has set the primary date for September 5th and the general election date for November 21st. Tom Harrelson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. New details about the Wagner mercenary group's leader who is speaking out about his short-term revolt and march toward Moscow.
Prigozhin broke his silence from an unknown location, saying in an audio recording that his goal was not to overthrow Putin's government, but rather to protest Moscow's attempt to dissolve his forces into the Russian army.
ABC's Justin Finch reporting from Washington.
An update on the cleanup and recovery efforts in Montana after a freight train derailment sent cars into the Yellowstone River. Montana officials say 9 rail cars are still submerged, and some of them are still leaking asphalt into the river.
There is still some product, some asphalt that's leaking out of some of those cars that are damaged.
Rich Cowger is one of the incident commanders. He says a crane is being used to lift the damaged train cars out of the river. Some of the cars also carried molten sulfur.
Fresh promises of less traffic, better mass transit, and even a reduction in pollution in New York City.
As soon as next year, drivers could be charged a toll to enter Midtown Manhattan, one of the busiest commercial areas in the world. Similar systems have been in place in cities like Singapore and London and boosted bus travel while improving air quality. Fees have yet to be finalized, but one proposal would charge each driver $23 for entering the congestion zone during rush hour.
ABC's Andrew Dimmer reports critics say the new toll would crush taxi drivers and commuters from neighboring states who already pay up to $17 to enter a tunnel or cross a bridge into the city.
First look traffic now, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
A lot of slowdowns remain, Amanda, in both directions of the freeway. In fact, I-15 northbound, you've got delays in Bluffdale, Sandy, Midvale, and now some building up downtown around 21st South. Coming out of Davis County hasn't been easy today either, whether you're on I-15 with slowdowns in Layton and Kaysville, and then both I-15 and 215 are backed up in North Salt Lake as you head into downtown. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A new report says Utah's long-term care centers for adults with disabilities falls far short and inadequate care for its patients. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston joins us live with more. Peter?
Tim, I'm in front of that notorious place mentioned in the report, Evergreen Place facility, which was shut down last January for not even approaching the health codes. It's completely repainted and remodeled, and it's got a clean setup now inside as its new role as a men's boarding home. Now, the report from the Disability Law Center of Utah focuses on one patient who was here, named Chen Yuen. He faced terrible conditions at this center before dying by suicide at another. Nate Cripps from the Disability Law Center says Nguyen's treatment stands for a larger disorganization at the state level.
So the fact that there isn't coordinated care for this population is frustrating, and that he went without his medication for so long that He attempted suicide once, and they were able to stop it, but then couldn't prevent the second attempt.
The report criticizes Utah's system of long-term care for a culture that favors businesses over patients. The state's Department of Health and Human Services responds, saying that their hearts go out to the families of victims and that they're looking for ways to improve. Reporting live from the Evergreen Place in Midvale, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
A new bridge is blocking the Weber River in an area that gets over 60,000 tubers and rafters each summer. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson reports this is more than an inconvenience. It may be dangerous.
Kyle Hooker, who runs Barefoot Tubing in that area, says he plans on taking precautions to ensure his clients' safety around the bridge, but there are a lot of people who run the river without any guide or tour and may not know how dangerous that area can be. Hooker worries we may see some injuries because of it.
The temporary bridge is located near Croydon and will remain there for the entire summer season.
This got our attention this morning. Malaria is spreading in several southern states for the first time in 20 years.
Malaria is caused by a parasite that's spread through mosquito bites. The Centers for Disease Control reports doctors are treating 5 cases of locally acquired malaria, 1 in Texas and 4 in Florida. According to the CDC, there are about 2,000 cases of malaria in the U.S. every year, but those cases are brought into the country by people who have been visiting other places. According to the CDC website, malaria symptoms include fever and flu-like illness and may include muscle shaking, chills, headache, muscle aches, and tiredness. Don Brinker-Huff, KSL News Radio.
We're monitoring the Supreme Court this morning. The first case to come down was a case about jurisdiction that involved a person who sued their employer. That case, Mallory versus Norfolk Southern, probably not the ones we've been watching for, but we'll continue to follow it here on KSL.
We'll check traffic and weather together in 2 minutes.
Boyd Matheson helps you to think about the news differently.
What the American people are looking for out of all sides of politics is just give me a vision.
Join an elevated conversation. Inside Sources from 1 to 3. Then Jeff Kaplan and his Minute of News on the drive home on KSL News Radio.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Shining is not for a chosen few. Like a rare gemstone, each one of us was created under just the right set of circumstances. Your moments, your milestones, your love story, all deserve to shine bright. You don't need an occasion or an invitation. You and your life are the event. At Shane Company, we handcraft our jewelry with the greatest care and hand select the most beautiful gemstones so you can shine. So put on a pair of earrings that make your eyes sparkle. Wear diamonds that light up the room. Try on sapphires in every color of the rainbow. Give an heirloom that collects new stories with each generation. We're all made to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
When interest rates rise, it's not all bad. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, helping you understand why now is the time to purchase an annuity. Annuities are the only products that will guarantee you an income you can't outlive. It's those guarantees that are tied to Treasury rates. And as we know, those rates are at 40-year highs. If you're in or within 10 years of retirement, use this to your advantage. This is exactly why it's possible to receive up to a 25% upfront bonus for income, and why it is possible to receive up to 10% per year for income growth. It's because of the high interest rates. Don't let anyone tell you it's not true, but also don't wait. Interest rates and these guarantees will eventually come down. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Guarantees are based on claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
Before we check traffic and weather together, let's go back over to the Supreme Court here. We've got another decision just out in the Counterman versus Colorado case. And this is the one, Amanda, we were talking with Sarah Isker about the true threats. And the court has ruled in a 7-2 decision that true threats are not protected by the First Amendment.
Right. But here's the thing. It's going to go back down and they'll have to retry this person because the standard that they tried him on the first time was not having to show any intent. He has to have some intent, but it's not a specific intent. it's recklessness. They just have to show that the person was reckless in what they said, having the impact it did on the plaintiff.
Yeah, so Kagan writes that the defendant consciously disregarded a substantial risk that his communications would be viewed as threatening violence. The state need not prove any more demanding of subjective intent to threaten another.
This is huge and will have an effect on a lot of vulgar and threatening speech on social media.
Particularly in the social media world these days.
Yeah.
Something we'll continue to watch and sort out for you as we continue to read through this decision this morning. But let's see how the roads are doing out there with traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy Farnsworth back in the traffic center.
Well, right now, if you're on I-15, things have calmed down a little bit as you get closer to downtown, but be prepared if you're just getting out of Utah County and coming through Draper and Bluffdale. You got some stop and go between the Bluffdale and Bangerter Highway exits, and then pretty heavy traffic Midvale, 7200 south to the 4500 south Murray exit. Looks better on the 201 freeway. Magna slowdowns are gone, but still pretty heavy between Bangerter Highway and Redwood Road as you continue towards I-15. Heather?
Our longest stretch of delays in Davis County is southbound I-15 between Antelope Drive and Layton all the way past the Kaysville Ponds, but you have some more brake lights showing up from the I-215 North Interchange heading into downtown Salt Lake. Back up in the Syracuse area, we do have a crash at the intersection of Antelope Drive 2000 West, and it is affecting travel in all four directions, so you may want to consider an alternate, although you don't have a lot of options in that area. Eric?
Got some construction on US 40 as we have for a couple weeks now, and northbound slowing from the top of Jordanelle Reservoir, the north part, heading up towards SR 248 if you're turning to go to Park City this morning. On I-15 Utah County, you're dropping below the normal pace from about 800 north, just north of that, up to the Pleasant Grove Boulevard exit. So be prepared for maybe an extra minute or two of drive time if you're going from Springfield to Point of the Mountain. Normally that's 22. Well, let's make it 23 minutes this morning. When you choose Performance Automotive and Bountiful, you're choosing selection. 4 locations: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Truck Country. See it all at performancebountiful.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be running 7 degrees cooler today compared to yesterday. 83 the high, partly cloudy skies, and a little breezy. Overnight lows in the low to mid 60s, mild, little breezy, and mostly cloudy. 84 tomorrow, slight chance for a PM storm, breezy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now in Salt Lake City, starting to warm up, 67 degrees downtown.
Fascinating to watch these decisions come down from the Supreme Court. This decision that a true threat recklessly made on the internet or anywhere else is not protected by the First Amendment is a huge case.
It is indeed, although we were just talking off the air, determining what is reckless behavior and what is actually, the reasonable person, if they would feel like they were threatened, is going to be an interesting argument in court on every case.
I'm sure, but I wonder if this will curb some of the more hateful speech, some of the more threatening speech on social media.
And will it increase the number of people that want to sue?
Maybe.
For what they consider to be a threat. Something we're going to continue to follow. There's a third case also out. We're going to read into it coming up in a minute. It's Moore versus Harper, but we'll have more coming up here on KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
I remember when I was heavy, before I went on the SOTA weight loss program, I used to look at thinner people who were fit, and think, well, it must be easy for them. They must be rich and can afford a trainer. Or maybe they were just born this way. I bet they haven't eaten anything delicious in 20 years. That's the kind of stuff I used to say to myself. And then I realized the only difference between me and them is a decision. I need to make the decision to go to sodaweightloss.com and try it out. And then I followed through and ate what they ate. And now I just live my life with a different relationship with food thanks to their help.
And you say that, and there's probably a lot of listeners out there that said, I made that decision, and I just could not follow through for whatever the reasons are.
I did 2 or 3 of those and failed before I did SOTA.
But here's the difference. SOTA weight loss is there for you even after you've reached your goal weight. They want to make sure in the maintenance phase that you stay on that plan, because their goal is the same as yours, to keep that weight off for as long as it takes for the rest of your life, for a healthier life. And my daughter, who lost 42 pounds now in the maintenance phase at no extra charge, by the way, checks in with her nutritionist every couple of weeks.
It's SOTA Weight Loss. Find out more by going to sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep, switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
KSL News Time, 8:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
this morning you'll see a military flyover from Logan all the way to St. George as the Air Force and the Utah National Guard celebrate 100 years of airborne refueling capabilities. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Salt Lake City is working on providing customized reports to help people know when and how much to water their lawns.
Third, a quick look at traffic and weather together.
North 15 slow in Draper and down and again in Murray. We've still got southbound delays though through most of Layton, and then only breaking up after you pass the 200 North Kaysville exit. Plus heavy traffic continues North Salt Lake into downtown. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
The 80s return to the forecast. We're dry today, but a chance for thunderstorms tomorrow. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 68 downtown.
Let's go in depth now. Russian President Vladimir Putin made his first remarks following the failed attempt to overthrow the government.
ABC News correspondent Inez de la Catera joined us this morning from Paris with an update.
We did see the Russian president in a video that was released. These were pre-recorded remarks. The first time we've seen him since the rebellion. So he thanked Russians for their endurance, their solidarity, and their patriotism. He said the armed rebellion would have been suppressed, so clearly trying to project strength there. And he said the organizers of the rebellion had betrayed their country and their people. At the same time, though, he also said the majority of Wagner fighters are patriots. So really trying to walk a fine line there, kind of trying to have it both ways, really. On the one hand, slamming the organizers of the rebellion, talking about how the rebellion would have been suppressed. But on the other hand, also saying that the majority of these mercenary men are patriots. He thanked them for not following through with the rebellion, and he's offering them the option of joining the Defense Ministry, other law enforcement agencies, or returning home. And we should point out that the FSB, and Sherry just mentioned it there, but the FSB dropping the criminal case investigating the rebellion, they're saying the case was closed because it has been established that the participants stopped their actions. Prigozhin also released a video. In his case, it was an 11-minute video explaining why his troops had reversed course. He said they had no goal of overthrowing the government, and he insists, like you say, that the purpose of the march was to prevent the losses of his troops. But he insists we did not want to shed Russian blood. We went to demonstrate our protest and not to overthrow the government in the country. So there are questions as to whether maybe the messaging and Prigozhin expressing support for Putin, whether that might have been part of the deal that was struck here, this deal that meant that Prigozhin could move to Belarus and that his men would not be punished.
We'll continue to follow what develops there with both Prigozhin and with the Wagner Group and give you the latest here on KSL News Radio.
That is the in-depth at 15 and 45.
8:19, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And back to you, Andy.
And right now, watching I-15, traffic is getting thicker in between Bluffdale and Bangerter Highway, but it's looking better in the Sandy and Draper stretch. We still have some brake lights around 5300 South Murray. SR 201 slowdowns pretty much gone at this point now, crossing the valley, as are the slowdowns we had earlier northbound on Mountain View and Bangerter through West Valley. Heather?
Things are still pretty slow. Southbound I-15 from Antelope Drive in Layton all the way into Kaysville, with more brake lights from Beck Street toward downtown Salt Lake City. We're also still dealing with a crash in Syracuse. It's right in the middle of the intersection of Antelope Drive and 2000 West, and it's affecting drivers in all four directions, so it's causing quite a bit of delay in that area. You also have a bit of slowing on I-215's west belt as you head south toward I-80 and the airport. Eric?
No trouble in Utah County, really. If you're looking to go from Provo to Lehigh, we don't have any issues on I-15 right now. Just a little bit of brake tapping going on in the Linden area as you work your way from 1600 North up to the Pleasant Grove Boulevard exit. But this is really greatly diminished from even 10 minutes ago. If you're heading over to the freeway, no major problems, just some little bit of slowdown 2100 North from 2300 West eastbound over to the freeway entrance. Stop by your locally owned and operated Big O Tires for big tire savings this 4th of July. Big O Tires has the lowest price on every tire every day on brands you know and trust. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, 83 today, partly cloudy with a light breeze by afternoon. Tomorrow, 84, slight chance for a PM storm, little breezy. 84, scattered to isolated storms possible on Thursday. 84 the high. 86 and mostly sunny on Friday. And then we get hot as high pressure pushes in from the Pacific. 91 on Saturday. 94 and sunny skies on Sunday. Working into Monday, 96 and mostly sunny. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now in Salt Lake City, it's heating up, 68 degrees. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
You can text us anytime on the Cypress Credit Union KSL text line, which is 57500. We just got a text. I was wondering if you could give the times of the flyover from the Air Force today. I do know they'll be flying over downtown Salt Lake City at 9:56.
Yeah, it's pretty specific.
So like 10 o'clock and you'll miss it. So make sure you're out there at 9:56. And we have more on our website at KSLNewsRadio.com.
They're going to be following the I-15 corridor all the way south, so that'll give you some kind of an idea of timing after that. Well, this hour of Utah's Morning News is brought to you by Cypress Credit Union. We're happy to have Amanda Morton back with us this morning. And, of course, this is all about our great teacher tribute wall. Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio are proud to honor teachers. And Amanda Morton, we love doing it even when the school is not in session. Yeah. So today we say congratulations to Cindy Skillicorn.
That is right. You know, when we heard that Cindy wasn't going to be able to join us today because she is on vacation, I thought, good for her. She should go and do that during this summer.
Absolutely. And I think it was just yesterday, Amanda, that Cypress announced an exciting new program, a collaboration with schools.
That is right. So we have partnered with a company called Stukent, who offers a financial simulation platform where high school students can actually interact as if they had a real account with money in it that they have to earn and pay bills. And they built a credit score and they have a credit report. So Cypress Credit Union is paying for every single high school financial literacy high school teacher in the state of Utah to have access to that program.
How cool is that?
Wow, how much money are we talking about?
Oh my gosh, it's actually going to be over $1 million that we've committed to doing that.
We've asked you this question in many different ways, but you can explain to our listeners again why Cypress sees the value in putting your financial foot forward in helping our teachers.
Absolutely. So the teachers are there on the front lines. They are the ones who are developing what our youth will become. And, you know, we couldn't do this without teachers. We all have that teacher that we think back and say, that person changed my life somehow. I remember an exact moment, you know, that I was with this teacher and how they impacted me. And we just want to make sure that teachers continue to have the resources that they continue to make those individual impactful moments over and over again for all this youth that we have.
I hope that our listeners will take a moment and go to KSLNewsRadio.com/teacher and tell us about the teacher in their life who did exactly what you just said, who really made a profound impact. Do that on our teacher tribute wall.
And Amanda, we'll check back with you coming up in a few minutes. I want to talk about your teacher mini grants that are available out there as well. KSL News Time, 8:24.
Smart, connected, modern. Discover life-enhancing independent living services at Trio Orem. Joy isn't just for the young, it's for the young at heart. Trio signature programs provide a unique approach to wellness, bringing living well and well-being to life. Trio is reimagining retirement to deliver delight in every detail. To learn more, contact Trio Orem at 801-434-8000 or visit treeoorem.com.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. After 3 years, the federal student loan payment freeze will end in just a few months. Interest will begin to accrue in September, with payments restarting in October.
The Supreme Court declined to hear an appeal by Apple and Broadcom against the California Institute of Technology. The institute was previously awarded $1.1 billion from the two companies for infringing on Caltech's wireless technology patents.
KSL Drives, the UTA, has received $17 million from the federal government to improve public transit and reduce emissions. The plan is to replace some diesel buses with compressed natural gas and make improvements to 6 dozen bus stops in Park City.
I just saw this bulletin come across Market Watch that U.S. new home sales jumped 12.2%. That's the highest level since February of 2022. Markets rallied a bit on that news this morning. The Dow is up over 100 points. That's 0.3. The S&P 500 up almost 0.4 or 15 points. And the NASDAQ, after taking losses yesterday, has gained back 65.5 points.
May I just jump in with another case from the Supreme Court that is not as widely followed as others, but this one came down. I think it's Moore versus Harper. And in this case, it involves judicial review, the court's ability to look at a law and decide whether or not it's constitutional, and the actions of the North Carolina legislature in picking congressional districts. So this is the second big case from the court on congressional districts.
Yeah.
And the court says, yes, we do have the right and the obligation to review the way state legislatures go about this process under the Elections Clause and make sure that it's constitutional.
We are being told that's the last decision of the day today. More to come, obviously, throughout the week, and we'll, as always, be keeping an eye on it from 8 o'clock on throughout the day on KSL.
We do have late into Kaysville slowdowns on southbound I-15, and it's also slow Bluffdale to Draper. We'll check it all next.
Men who have given up in their intimate life because of prostate issues, testicular cancer, or simply no ED treatments you've tried have worked. It's not the end. At Summit Men's Health, they have a customized approach for each individual patient to get results they desire and deserve. Stop wasting your time and money with treatments that don't work for most men, like Shockwave, Viagra, or the shots. Summit Men's Health guarantees results in your first visit, or you don't pay. Call Summit Men's Health today and get the spark back in your relationship. Summit Men's Health, 435-500-2790. They're so confident this will work for you, they promise if you don't get results on your first visit, they pay you $500 cash, no questions asked. Call Summit Men's Health today at 435-500-2790. That's 435-500-2790 to get the passion back in your love life.
Utah needs to replace Representative Chris Stewart.
In this special election, only one person can come out of convention, and that person is Celeste Malloy.
Now we know at least one Republican has made the ballot.
She did get the endorsement from her former boss, Congressman Chris Stewart. She called herself a political dark horse.
Now it's a foot race for a handful of other challengers to collect signatures and make the primary. The drop-dead date is Tuesday the 5th. We'll update the field all this week on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 8:29. Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Andy Farnsworth is in the traffic center.
Well, Tim, our slowdowns in Draper are mostly gone. We still have some stop and go between 7200 South and 215, which means your drive time only about 22 minutes. Also some pretty heavy traffic around 33rd South as you go towards downtown Salt Lake. But coming out of Tooele and into the valley, no delays on I-80. SR 36 all clear. Tooele to Lake Point as well. Heather?
The delays are starting to break up southbound I-15, but you'll still hit the brakes between Hillfield Road in Layton and the Kaysville Ponds, and then you have more slowdowns from North Salt Lake into downtown. Also, Legacy Parkway is back to normal speeds, both directions, northbound and southbound, right around I-215. Eric.
Over on US 40, going from Jordanelle Reservoir on the Wasatch back northbound from Heber City up to Park City, you got some slowing through that construction zone. And heading into Park City on Kearns Boulevard, that's SR 248, you got some westbound slowing this morning. I-15 in Utah County, northbound and southbound, looking good right now down in Provo. 300 South getting a little bit busy between 500 West and University Avenue. Take a break from financial worries. Meet with the Mountain America Debt Consolidation Expert for a chance to win a vacation package. Details at macu.com/debt rescue. Eric Fuddler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Let's get a look at that forecast for today. Lots of sunshine. It'll be warm up to 83 degrees, but we'll get even warmer come the holiday weekend this Saturday. 91, 94 on Sunday, 96 on Monday. So July 4th will probably be up there in the 90s. Pretty warm. We do have a slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and evening. Right now, downtown, blue skies, 68 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 8:30.
KSL's top story this hour.
Summer roadwork, special coverage on Utah's Morning News.
One of the fastest growing areas in Utah is looking at getting a traffic facelift to help with congestion.
KSL News Radio's Hugo Ricard Bell has more on our series Summer Roadwork and follows up on a meeting held in Utah County to discuss growth and a new interchange.
Construction is still some time away, but the project that looks to free up traffic on Spanish Fork Main Street is in the environmental assessment phase. With the population booming right now, UDOT anticipates the already 5-minute delays to get even worse unless something is done, which is why they are holding meetings this week to take public comment and update residents of where they're at with the project.
Hugo reports it could take up to 5 years before construction is finished. An in-person open house will be held at the Spanish Fork Library this evening at 5 o'clock.
Looks like it may be another tough day for air travelers. Lingering storms on the East Coast are impacting hundreds of flights. Greg Morris has been trying to fly from Atlanta to Albany with his wife and 4-month-old baby for 2 days.
Been wearing the same clothes for 2.5 days now. So not fun.
This morning, we're seeing cancellations for outbound flights at JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark airports, which will, of course, have a ripple effect around the country.
Let's check the holiday travel weather forecast with KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson.
4th of July is looking like it could be quite hot into the mid-90s. Now, southern Utah and into the Washington County area, those low-lying desert valleys, including St. George, will see a 4 to 5 day stretch of triple digits working into this weekend and holding for the 4th of July. So it wouldn't be the 4th without that summer heat.
For now, we'll have highs of mid-80s with a chance of thunderstorms tomorrow and Thursday.
Salt Lake City homeowners are being encouraged to try a new program that provides customized reports to help people know how much water to put on their lawns. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
Tim, they're called water maps, and they're available on the same website that you use to pay for your water bill. The report's only visible to you, and it's based on satellite images of your property, plus weather data and water spigot data. Turf grass, for instance, is going to require more watering than shrubs, and hotter weather is going to require more water to stop the plants from drying out. Depending on how much you irrigate your yard versus how much it needs to get watered, you'll get a grade from 1 for efficient to 3+ for excessive. These higher numbers have the capacity to conserve the most water. According to city officials, this program will work best the more people use it, and their warning is that while this year saw record precipitation, we don't know what next year will bring. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. New information about former President Trump's classified documents case. ABC News has obtained the audio recording of Mr. Trump appearing to acknowledge that he held onto a sensitive military document after leaving the White House.
After news broke that prosecutors were in possession of the recording, Trump claimed to Fox News that he was not referring to an actual document.
I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories.
Trump says he had personal items mixed in with the documents, which is why he says he did not comply with a subpoena to return them. Reacting to the audio recording last night, Trump's campaign said the audio tape provides context proving once again that President Trump did nothing wrong at all. The president is speaking rhetorically.
ABC's Morgan Norwood says the audio has been quoted in the Justice Department's indictment, but we have not heard it until now.
A senior U.S. official is revealing more about the deal between the Kremlin and Wagner mercenary group leader.
The senior U.S. official who spoke to ABC News believes Prigozhin will head to Belarus, but will not likely stay there, adding that, quote, his long-term survivability is hard to calculate. Meanwhile, former ambassador to Ukraine Bill Taylor says the attempted revolt highlights Putin's weaknesses right now.
ABC's Justin Finch reporting from Washington.
First look traffic, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
And we still have a few slow spots, but they're really improving quickly. On North 15, still some slowing at Bangerter Highway, and then again at 7200 South. Now, coming out of Davis County, we've got some delays that are increasing rather than decreasing. This is just before the 215 split in North Salt Lake. Although I haven't heard about a crash there, I'm definitely seeing more than the usual slowdown, so something must be restricting lanes near the 215 split. Oh, no, I do see it. Just pulled it up on the camera. We've got something over to the left, kind of blocking the HOV lane. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
And we're following developing news this hour out of the Supreme Court as they issued several rulings this morning.
One getting a lot of attention is Moore versus Harper, dealing with the power state legislators have over federal elections. CNN Supreme Court correspondent Jessica Schneider is weighing in, so let's listen in for a moment.
Yeah, the big takeaway here is that the Supreme Court is rejecting this broad independent state legislature theory. This is a theory that was pushed by backers of President Trump in the 2020 election to overturn the 2020 election results. So the Supreme Court here rejecting that broad interpretation of this theory. So to take you back, this was a dispute involving election maps in North Carolina. The North Carolina State Supreme Court several years ago stepped in, rejecting the maps, and then challengers to that brought this all the way to the Supreme Court, saying, look, per the Constitution, it's only the state legislature that really has say over all things elections, including the drawing of election and voting maps. The state court should have really no say. You know, there's a clause in the Constitution that says that state legislatures should prescribe the time, manner, and place of elections, and Trump backers in particular interpreted that to mean that partisan state lawmakers had final say over elections. But the Supreme Court today rejecting that broad theory. This is a 6-3 decision written by the Chief Justice John Roberts. The Supreme Court really wanted to weigh in on this before any future elections coming up in just about a year and a half because of the real chaos that adopting a theory like this, or even letting this theory linger and not having any final say by the Supreme Court, could potentially cause.
Hopefully that'll provide some strength and clarity before the next election. There will be several large Supreme Court decisions issued later this week. It could be as early as tomorrow. We'll cover them all for you here on KSL News Radio.
Yeah, we're just reading on, SCOTUSblog.com, 7 more left, and it does look like there will be a couple more that may come out tomorrow. So
we do have persistent northbound slowing on I-15 in Midvale and southbound through Layton and Davis County. We'll check it next on KSL.
Breaking news is just one ask away.
Playing KSL News Radio.
New trouble for Amazon.
Everything near the parks is turned into an Airbnb.
In your home, tell Alexa, play KSL News Radio. Then listen in your car at 102.7 FM.
And now here's Growing Your Wealth, presented by Madrona Financial Services. Here's Brian Evans.
This week I'm talking about various methods to give money to charities other than just writing a check. We've talked about setting up charitable trusts for different purposes, creating endowment or scholarship funds, donor-advised funds, donating appreciated assets, that kind of thing. Today I want to talk about gifting required minimum distributions from your IRA. So at age 72, we are required by the IRS to take distributions from our IRA and pay income tax on them. And so that's something that a lot of people, a lot of my clients, they get to their 70s and 80s and they might be in a good place financially and they say, you know, I really don't need that money. I'm not spending that much money. I have plenty for what I need. And so I don't really need that, but I'm required to move this money out of my IRA and into my regular account. But again, I don't need it. So I wish I didn't have to do that. And plus you have to pay taxes on it at your highest marginal tax bracket. So one way around that is to make the required minimum distributions, instead of putting it into your bank account and paying tax on it, you can donate it directly to a charity up to $100,000 per year, and that is not taxable to you anymore. You could have taken the distribution, paid the tax, and given the charity what's left, or by donating it directly, the charity gets the whole amount and they don't pay any income tax on that. So this is a great way to help a charity that you want, give them more of the money without you paying income tax first, and having it go directly to them as your required minimum distribution.
Even the mightiest of trees can be blown over if they don't have strong enough roots. The same is true with your investment plan. Can your plan withstand a financial storm? Go to MadronaFinancial.com and click on the Get Started button to request your Rooted Wealth Analysis. You can also click on the chat button and ask us anything. We have a searchable library with answers to your questions. Visit MadronaFinancial.com.
8:39, traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. And back over to you, Andy.
Amanda, slowdowns on I-15 still in place between the Bluffdale and Bangerter Highway exit, which means just a little bit of extra travel time through the valley this morning. Heavy traffic continues in spots, but it looks like you'll maintain the speed limit even in some of the busiest traffic between 106 South and 4500 South. Looks good out of Tooele on I-80, 21st South Freeway. No more slowdowns from Magna through West Valley. Heather?
Typical delays remain southbound I-15 from Layton Parkway to the Kaysville Ponds, but now you've got the traffic at a crawl from Woods Cross all the way to the I-215 North Interchange in North Salt Lake. That is due to an accident blocking the HOV lane and left shoulder. Now, once you get past it, you're back up to speed all the way into downtown Salt Lake. Traffic has eased up on Legacy Parkway, both directions, right around the North Salt Lake, Woods Cross area as well. And we're still in the final cleanup stages of a crash in Syracuse at Antelope Drive, 2000 West. Eric.
Let's look at the 215 eastbound. Looks good. Northbound through Holiday, Mill Creek up to the mouth of Hartley's Canyon. If you continue north on Foothill Drive, expect usual slowing right around 1700 south. Not too bad, though, this morning. I-80 through the mountains. That's looking good. And down Utah County, no problems on I-15 at the moment. While you were spring cleaning, did you check your drains? From kitchen sinks to main lines, Big Brothers Home Services is here for you 24/7. BigBrothersHomeservices.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
More beautiful June weather on tap today. We'll go partly cloudy skies, high of 83, and a light breeze. Overnight, mostly cloudy, 63 the temperature. We'll go 84 tomorrow, and a slight chance for a pop-up PM thunderstorm. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
I don't think there's a cloud in the sky this hour downtown, just sunshine and 70 degrees.
It's going to start in just a few minutes, this U.S. Air Force flyover. Adam Small will join us to tell us more about it. So when you see those planes, you'll know what's happening. That's just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Stay right there. We'll do it next at 102.7 FM and 1160 AM. Tim and Amanda here on your Tuesday morning from your all-day companion for news. This hour of Utah's Morning News brought to you by Cypress Credit Union. Amanda Morton is the Vice President of Business Development and back with us this morning. We already awarded a Teacher of the Month to Cindy Skillicorn from Sego Lily Elementary. And we were talking last time, Amanda, about how Cypress goes year-round in honoring and helping our teachers. Tell us about that mini grant that is available.
Absolutely. Yeah. So each month we give eight $250 mini grants through just a simple application process that the teachers can apply for. That $250 goes a really long way in the classroom. You know, a lot of teachers have been able to do a lot of really, really amazing things with that money that, you know, otherwise it might not have been available. So making sure that that money ends up in the teacher's hands every month is really important to us.
How do teachers apply for those grants?
Yes, so they're going to go to the cypresscu.com website and then click on In the Community and About Us. They're going to see a application for, it's called a Teacher Mini Grant.
I don't know if you have these numbers offhand, but I would think our listeners might find it interesting to find out how many teachers actually apply for that grant. My guess is a lot.
Yes. So sometimes we'll get 30 applications in 1 month, and then sometimes we will get maybe only 5 or 6. And it absolutely killed me when we only get 5 or 6 because I do not want to leave any money on the table. So I encourage teachers, even if you have applied and at some point in time, maybe you didn't get the grant that month, please apply again and let's see if we can get it to you the following month.
Plus, I love that Cypress is actually in the classroom too.
That's right, yes. So it is very important to us to actually physically be present on campus, helping students to learn about financial literacy. So whether that is a teacher inviting us in to guest speak on something, or is actually teaching a class for the teacher so that they can have maybe an extra break that day and some extra planning time. However, we can support the teacher and the students. You're going to find us doing that.
And on top of all of that, you also put up $500 Visa gift card, which we handed out this morning. The teacher also gets $250 in a Harmon's gift card and season tickets to Health Center Theater. Make sure that you nominate your favorite teacher. Just go to kslnewsradio.com/teacher.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
Good morning, KSL News Time, 8:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a Utah County Sheriff's deputy has pled guilty to crashing into and killing a BYU student who was turning out of a Provo Taco Bell 2 years ago. On KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, the Supreme Court issued several rulings this morning, including one that deals with the power state legislators have over federal elections.
Third, of course, traffic and weather together.
I-15 traffic still struggling southbound Woods Cross to North Salt Lake because of a crash. Now, they have moved it out, so it's not blocking any more lanes near the north interchange, but you're still waiting on that slowdown from Bountiful to Woods Cross to clear out. Plus, still have brake lights on I-15 in Kaysville as well. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy today and a touch cooler in the low 80s. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 71 downtown.
With KSL's top national stories.
An issue before the U.S. Supreme Court today. Who gets to decide when, where, and how we vote? The justices upholding a North Carolina judge's ruling that the state's top court did not overstep its bounds in striking down a congressional districting plan as excessively partisan under state law. Hundreds of airline flights delayed or canceled again today. ABC Stephanie Ramos is at Newark International Airport.
The FAA reduced the arrival rates by 40% and the departure rates by 75%, blaming weather for the two-day headache. But airline officials pushing back overnight. United CEO Scott Kirby telling employees the FAA frankly failed us, pointing to employee shortages and the agency's decision to dramatically limit flights in and out of airports during those storms.
A new report today from the Justice Department's Inspector General says a combination of negligence and misconduct enabled Jeffrey Epstein to take his own life in a New York City jail cell. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Well, I guess we're within an hour now of a large U.S. Air Force refueling plane that's going to be doing a statewide flyover, maybe more than one.
Yeah, it's part of a celebration to mark 100 years of airborne refueling capabilities. Joining us live with the details on how to watch the flyover is KSL News Radio's Adam Small. We've got text this morning, Adam, of when will it be over me? So can you go over that?
Yeah, of course. So it starts in just under an hour now. It's starting up in Logan at Utah State University. Now, when we start to see it coming to the Wasatch Front, so the schedule is we got flyover happening over at Lagoon and Farmington at 9:50. About 5 minutes later, it will pass over the Capitol. So if you're in Salt Lake, prepare about 9:55-ish. That's when you're going to want to look for that. Down in Provo, Brigham Young University, just after 10 at 10:03. And then by about 10:55, they're at the Cedar City Airport. By about 11, a little after, they're going to be all the way in St. George. It just blows my mind how fast they can make this happen. But then they're also going to loop back around from there. So they kind of follow the I-15 corridor. They start to loop back around. By between 11:40-ish and about 11:55, they're going to be back at the I-70, I-89 corridor. By just after noon, they'll be at Strawberry Reservoir. Heber City and Park City pretty much back-to-back 12:07 and 12:09. So from the span of just a little over 2 hours, they're going to be going from Logan to St. George all the way back up to Park City. It's pretty incredible.
There was a text earlier, and I have a feeling I had the same question. They said, so you're telling me we've been refueling planes midair since 1923? Yeah. Probably not with this planes. I don't know if you've had a chance to look into the history of it at all, Adam.
Yeah, I've looked into it a little bit, but yeah, no, it's been happening for 100 years. Where 100 years ago, I'm trying to remember all the specifics, but I was reading the release this morning. But the 100 years ago was the first time that they needed to refuel a plane in midair, and they passed like an actual hose to get gas into this plane. That obviously technology is a lot better now, where the plane will kind of just come under the refueler and can refuel that way. But now, back in 1923, somebody just decided to basically pass a gas hose down so they could refuel this plane in midair. But no, 100 years. It's incredible how far that technology's come.
How many planes are doing the flyover today?
That's what I've been trying to look into. I would imagine more than one. It wasn't super specific because, I mean, if you're doing a flyover, I would definitely imagine it's more than one plane. But, well, I imagine it will be at least, I would guess at least a couple, but it should be very visible and probably audible as we've been warning people.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure everybody knew what was going on, just in case you had ideas on what might be happening, but they're probably going to be flying low and slow, which will be quite a display. So 9:40 in Logan. They'll be crossing over the Capitol here in Salt Lake City, 9:56.
I'm going outside. I want to see it.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see, and then statewide. So, Adam, thanks for following up on that for us this morning. on the in-depth at 15 and 45. It's 8:49, right on the button. Time for a look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Granite Credit Union's high-yield savings certificates. Here's Andy.
Tim, we were just about to clear out delays, and now we've got some additional backups now between 114th South going up towards 90th South. Looks like we may have another crash just before the 90th South exit that's causing this slowdown again. So almost out of the woods, but now your drive time's increasing again through the south end of the valley. Still have heavy traffic from 53rd South up to 3300 South, and then you're clear. And don't see any delays right now, though, from Tooele County over to the airport or 215 on the west side. Heather?
Well, the crash in Syracuse on Antelope Drive at 2000 West has cleared, so traffic is moving better through that area. But southbound I-15 still has delays from Layton Parkway past the Kaysville Ponds, and your stop and go as you leave Bountiful, head through Woods Cross into North Salt Lake. That's due to an earlier crash that just cleared out of the way a few minutes ago. Eric?
Haven't had too many problems in Utah County this morning. Earlier crash in Springville. That's about it on the freeway. Right now, you're looking at 30 minutes northbound from Santaquin to the county line. Timpanogos Highway get a little bit busier now in Highland for westbounders and for eastbounders from Redwood Road over to the freeway. Just your usual congestion approaching Saratoga Road. That's 2300 west on both 2100 north and Pioneer Crossing. Upgrade your countertops with beautiful quartz or granite. With Bedrock Quartz, it's only 7 days from template to installation. With showrooms in Layton, West Jordan, St. George, and Pleasant Grove. BedrockQuartz.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. We start out with a string of 80s, and then we turn it up to the 90s. We'll go 83 today, partly cloudy skies, a little breeze. Tomorrow, slightly breezy, chance for a PM storm, high of 84. That slight chance for PM thunderstorms persists into Thursday, 84. 86 mostly sunny for your Friday, and then we get hot. 91 sunny skies on Saturday. Sunday, 94 ample sunshine. Working into Monday, 96 and mostly sunny skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 71 downtown, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
I'm just glad it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
After reporting on what's going on in Texas and Florida and Mississippi and some of the other places, they said that misery index today could be 120 degrees or something.
Man.
But you lived for a little while down in Florida.
Yeah, in Fort Lauderdale.
Did you get used to it?
Yeah, you do. You do. But I mean, in the summertime, when you can see the heat in front of your car, like it looks like a wave of heat. Yeah, that's not happy. You're not happy.
We used to take the grandkids down to visit Grandma and Grandpa when they lived just outside of Orlando. It was always summertime when the kids were out of school, but you walk out of the shower and you just feel like you need another one immediately.
Multiple per day. Or a pool. You got to have a pool.
We're going to follow the weather, but get out and enjoy this day for sure. Coming up in a minute, we'll see what's happening with money news, so stay with us.
Hi, Doug Wright along with Steve Sales. We do the movie show together, and we have become genuine fans of NPS. We like to, it has a real name, but we like to think of it as nice place to save or nice place to shop. And Steve, you are such a fan of the industrial area that they have in the Salt Lake store.
I think because they make it interesting for me. I love to go through the bins and find the little things that might be of interest. And I love getting little deals like that. So, yeah, I love going to the industrial side, but I also love the grocery side, too.
That's right, grocery and kind of the drugstore side and home goods and so on, bedding. And it's incredible. And on top of some of the regular deals, 30 to 70% off all the time on name brand, brand new stuff. But, boy, when you can get 50% additionally off clothing and clothing accessories and sunglasses and eyeglass frames, it just goes on and on. There are 4 locations of NPS. There's Layton, there's Orem, and Salt Lake.
Today only, Zero Res is running their $25 sale. You don't have to clean today, but you have to get on the schedule. Call or visit ZeroRes.com to get your spot today.
This is Dr. Tamara Sheffield from Intermountain Health with Your Life, Your Health. As temperatures warm, pediatric safety experts are offering child safety tips and a free visual reminder for home windows to prevent accidental window falls and traumatic injuries. Thousands of children in the United States each year are injured due to falling out of windows. Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital treats an average of 28 children each year for injuries suffered from window falls. These children are most commonly between the ages of 3 and 5, and their injuries increased in severity between 2021 and 2022, including 1 fatality. During that time, trauma experts at Intermountain Riverton Hospital treated triple the number of window fall injuries typically seen in an average year. Primary Children's has a new window cling to help people remember the 4-inch rule. The window clings are 4 inches wide and remind you not to open your window more than 4 inches. They can be placed on any window in your home to help you remember this tip to keep kids safe. Some other tips include keeping windows closed and locked, keeping furniture or anything children can climb on away from windows, teaching children only to open windows with permission and help from adults, making sure windows are inaccessible to children, and supervising children around open windows. For more safety tips, or to request free window clings that come in English or Spanish, fill out a request form at primarychildrens.org/safety. That's primarychildrens.org/safety. I'm Dr. Tamara Sheffield with Intermountain Health on KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Patients with Regence Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance can continue to receive in-network care from University of Utah Health. The two companies reached an agreement that helps provide affordable care and will last multiple years.
Actor Ryan Reynolds and other celebrity American investors are spending $218 million for a 24% stake in the Alpine F1 racing team. Reynolds' business portfolio already contains stakes in Aviation Gin, Mint Mobile, and the Welsh soccer team Wrexham AFC.
And if he has the same success with Formula One, they're in for a good run here. KSL Drive's former Audi executive Rupert Stadler pleaded guilty to fraud in a diesel emission scandal. He was sentenced to 21 months in prison and ordered to pay a fine. The diesel emission scandal cost Volkswagen $30 billion and sent 2 U.S. executives to prison.
Markets are up right now. The Dow's up 128. That's 0.4%. We're at 33,842. The S&P's up 19. That's 0.5%. The Nasdaq up 79, which is 0.6%.
Coming up next, we'll try and wrap up this morning drive, traffic, and weather together in 2 minutes. This hour of Utah's Morning News is brought to you by Cyprus Credit Union. Amanda Morton is with us again, and we sure appreciate your support and your involvement in our teacher tribute wall, but I know it's something that you guys take great pride in.
Absolutely. You know, I was reading our winner, Miss Skillicorn, as they